I said last week that I wanted to talk about habits and disciplines in a few minutes, and it was a few minutes for me. It's been a week for you. But I do want to talk about habits and disciplines as a part of discipling and the Christian life. One of the things that is important about the work of discipling somebody is helping people develop habits and rhythms of their Christian life that shape and form us in such a way that we are increasingly trying, at least as far as our part is, to be oriented towards God rather than towards ourselves or towards any other idols that might be in our lives. Habits and disciplines of the faith are really important in this reality. We learn habits and disciplines very early in life, different kinds of habits and disciplines for the Christian life. We are often taught to say our prayers before we go to bed. We are often taught to say grace before meal. These are habits of prayer that are in our Christian lives that we learn because someone, usually in this context our parents, are discipling us in the Christian faith. But there are many other habits and disciplines. There are disciplines of time, there are disciplines of attitude, there are disciplines of action, there are internal disciplines, there are external disciplines. There's all sorts of habits that we might develop, and they're really important for our Christian life because, again, there are things that we do that help us be oriented and directed towards God rather than to something else. One of the simplest habits of the Christian life is simply going to church. For those of us who go to church every Sunday, and it is literally the habit, it's just the rhythm, it's just what we do. We don't really think of it as a discipline that we've developed, but it is. It's something that we have learned to do and we continue to do in that sort of sense. That's true about any kind of discipline of Bible reading or prayer that may, again, seem to be very ingrained for some of us. I, for example, learned to read the Bible daily because I wasn't a believer, and then I came to be a believer, and I learned just the habit or discipline of reading the scriptures every day. And now it just happens almost. There's still some effort required, but it is something that is a habit or a discipline. One of the things that's very important for us to be helping people is to shape and form things like this that might make up a rule of life. It's that this is what I do. This is how I want to orient my life. I want to be reading my Bible daily, for an example. I want to be going to church on a weekly basis, for example. I might want to be taking a time of retreat on a regular basis. I take a week-long retreat once a year. That's one of the habits and disciplines of my Christian life. It's, again, something that I work on doing on a regular basis. The rule of my life put together. And habits and disciplines very rarely happen because I have decided personally I'm going to do that. Although that does happen sometimes. It's usually encouraged by someone else. And that's what the discipleship part means. A good example of this is, from my experience, is tithing. I was a new believer. I was going to church and I was loving church, and it was very exciting. It was wonderful. There was lots of kind of people my age at the church. It was fantastic. It was thrilling. And then one Sunday, and this was a discipleship moment in a sermon, I heard that we should be actually tithing and giving money to the church. It literally had never occurred to me prior to that I should be doing that. And again, the discipleship came from an encouragement from another, a discipler, to me to begin a habit that has been now a lifelong habit for me as well. Discipleship means ultimately helping people and encouraging people, and sometimes helping them be accountable to developing habits in their lives that, again, those habits don't save us, they don't fix us, they don't make us holy, but those habits are there to orient us as much as it is within us towards God rather than towards something else. Habits and disciplines are also an incredibly important part of the Christian life that discipleship needs to shape and form. And encouraging people to have those habits and disciplines is a central part of what it means to make disciples.